Welcome to Caribbean Romance, where love stories come alive with the heartbeat of Belize. In today's story, meet Shanice, a vibrant small-town girl from Dangriga, and Anthony, a wealthy businessman from Belize City, whose life was turned upside down by a tragic accident. Can love bloom where pain has settled? Can a girl from the coast teach a man who's given up how to feel again? This story is about healing, unexpected laughter, and a love that changes everything. Based on the international bestseller Me Before You by Jojo Moyes, but rewritten with our Belizean flavor, culture, and heart. Get ready, grab your tea or your coconut water. This one's gonna move you. Shanice Blanco never thought her life would change in a single morning. But it did. Right there on her granny's front step, with coconut bread in one hand and her phone buzzing like crazy in the other. She had just finished cleaning Mr. Chacon's little office down by the sea when the call came in. "Shan, you free for something new?" her cousin Kareem asked. "If it pay better than bleach and mop, I'm interested," she replied, half joking. That's how she landed the strangest job of her life, caregiver to a rich city man who couldn't move from the neck down, a man who didn't want help. A man who, rumor said, had once climbed Victoria Peak in under 2 days and used to fly to Miami just for lunch. Shanice didn't know what to expect. She only knew he lived in Burrell Boom now, in a fancy house with a big gate and even bigger sadness. She had never cared for someone who hated smiling. Anthony Samuels used to be the life of the yacht parties. Son of a hotel tycoon, he had charm, looks, and the kind of confidence that made women blush and men nod with respect. Then the accident happened, a boat crash out by Ternefe Atoll. One moment, speed and salt water, the next, darkness, paralyzed, just like that. Now, 2 years later, he lived like a ghost inside a sunlit mansion, barely speaking, barely eating, and definitely not laughing. When Shanice entered his room the first time, she greeted him in her warm Dangriga Creole tone. "Good morning, Mr. Anthony. I'm Shanice, your new assistant, or whatever you want call me." He didn't answer. His eyes just scanned her like she was another mistake. She ignored the silence, walked in, opened the curtains, and said, "Well, at least your house pretty. Lot of breeze, too. Good breeze keep bad mind away, no?" He blinked slowly. That was it. Still, she smiled and started humming a Garifuna song while fluffing his pillow. Anthony wasn't used to someone like Shanice. She asked questions. She brought stories from Dangriga about the fish market drama, the church cookout, her granny's loud mouth. She joked about things he found serious. She played KTV Latino reruns and said, "You like this tune? Bet you're used to wine. Pandengal to this one." At first he just stared, annoyed. But little by little her laughter filled the house. Even Nurse Loretta started smiling more. Shanice, for her part, learned how to help him with things he couldn't do, brushing his teeth, feeding him, moving him slightly so his skin wouldn't get sores. At night she'd sit outside and watch the sky, thinking how life had turned strange. But not bad. One night Anthony finally snapped. "You think this funny?" He spat, voice low but sharp. "Coming here every day pretending this is some Disney story? I'm a man who can't even scratch his own nose." Shanice froze. Her lips parted slightly, but she didn't blink. "You think I come here to pity yo? I need this job, yes. But I stay 'cause I see the man inside this shell. Yo just stubborn, like crab and conch soup." Anthony turned his face to the window. A long silence followed. "I used to be someone," he whispered. And you still are, she replied, softer now. But maybe you forgot. Weeks passed. Something shifted. They started watching movies together, Belizean comedies and cheesy love films. He even chuckled once during Gone Fishing in Caye Caulker. That was a real laugh? She asked, teasing. Maybe, he murmured. He taught her chess, and she taught him how to make perfect fry-jacks, though she did all the work, of course. Sometimes they'd sit by the window, breeze rolling through, and talk about things they never told anyone else. She told him about her dad who left. He told her about his ex-fiancée who couldn't handle the wheelchair. You're different, he said one night. So you're saying I better? She teased, nudging his shoulder. He smiled, a real one. One evening she overheard his mother arguing with the nurse. He wants to go to Switzerland, the clinic, the assisted place, the mother said, her voice shaking. He's made up his mind. Shanice's heart dropped. That wasn't a clinic. That was a place where people chose when to end things. She went home and cried into her pillow. The next day she confronted him. You're serious about that place? He looked away. Why? She whispered. We just start living again. You smile now. You laugh. You'll even beat me in chess. I don't want to be a burden forever. You're not a burden. You're my friend. His eyes glistened. Shanice made a decision. If Anthony was set on leaving this world, then she'd spend the next weeks showing him why life was still worth it. No more just watching the sea from the window. He had to be in it. So she planned adventures. A drive to Placencia to feel the ocean breeze. A river tour on the new river where he saw crocodiles and howler monkeys. Dinner at the Smoky Mermaid in Belize City with his old favorite, grilled snapper and coconut rice. He protested, of course. You trying to kill me faster? He joked one night. No, I trying make you live harder, she snapped. And somehow he kept going, and smiling more and more. September came and Dangriga's pre-carnival energy buzzed in the air. Shanice insisted they visit her hometown for a weekend. She dressed him in a shirt that said, Vibes No Done, and wheeled him through the crowd where drums pounded, dancers whined, and people cheered his name. Mr. City Boy in Dangriga. That night, under a starlit sky at her granny's house, he whispered, You've given me more in these weeks than I had in years. Shanice looked into his eyes, her heart full. I think I love you, she said softly. He blinked, then looked down. Don't, he whispered. Don't love a man who's leaving. Back in Burrell Boom, things felt heavier. Anthony had a quiet sadness now. He no longer resisted joy, but he didn't fully accept it either. Shanice tried to push the clinic topic away, but one day he said, I've decided. I'm going. End of next month. She walked out the room, tears in her eyes. For days, she didn't speak to him properly. Then one night, she came back in with a small envelope. Inside was a drawing, her and him on a boat surrounded by the Belizean coast. I still believe in you, she whispered, even if you don't. Their final adventure was Caye Caulker. Shanice booked a weekend at a quiet beach house with a ramp. They watched the sunrise every morning. She even helped him dip his feet in the water. They laughed, cried, drank coconut rum, and sat in silence sometimes. Promise me you'll live big, he said one evening. Go to college, travel, love again. I promise, but I'll always remember you, she whispered. Their last night, she curled up in a hammock beside him and listened to the wind through the palm trees. 2 weeks later, she got the call. He was gone, peacefully, just like he planned. He left her a letter, and inside was money for school, a necklace with a little sea star, and one final line. For the girl who brought the sun back into my storm, live bold, Shanice. She didn't cry that day. She just stood by the sea, wind in her face, and whispered, "Thank you, Anthony." Then she smiled and began again. Shanice stood outside St. John's College, books in hand. She was studying to be a physiotherapist. Sometimes she'd visit Burrell Boom, sit by the river, and remember the man who taught her the value of every sunrise. She hadn't fallen in love again yet, but she had fallen in love with life, with herself, with possibilities. Because of Anthony, she now knew. Even short stories can change your whole world. Sometimes love doesn't come to stay. It comes to change you. This story teaches us that even in the face of loss and pain, love can bring healing, purpose, and transformation. True love doesn't always mean holding on. It means helping someone find joy again, even if only for a moment. And most of all, it reminds us to live boldly, love deeply, and never take life for granted. I would like to invite you to subscribe to my channel, become a part of the community that enjoy clean, fun stories, and comment so I would know your thoughts. Share it with your friends. I thank you for your support.